My name is Michael, and my presentation mainly focused on apprising social interactions among young people. But first, to apprise the interactions, we gotta understand the causes of social decay. And that's what my research question is based on. And it states, what has most impacted the social decline of peer interaction over the last 10 years among young adults? First, before we dive deep in causes, I want to talk about how does the society looks like right now. I examine this topic through social lenses, which includes social skills, communication skills, how young adults interact with each other and what they prefer, through which ways they prefer to interact. Also scientific lenses, as poor social interactions can cause a lot of life problems and issues, such as dangerous mental health conditions and problems in the future. Also, through economical lenses, I showed the impact of one of the causes to peer interactions, and cultural lenses, where some of my causes can impact the lifestyle and cultural identity of the peers. So, young society overview. These are the main factors of the causes of peer interactions decay over the years, which include isolation and pandemic distancing. The COVID-19 pandemic, the society decreased the in-person, face-to-face interactions, and people basically distanced themselves from each other, staying in their comfort zone. And here comes in hand the technology addiction. As the technological progress is growing over the years, and especially in pandemic times, people started to use the technology in every phase of their lives, basically, which developed and increased the technology addiction. Also, the social media takeover made a huge impact on social distancing, social decay, as we liked to communicate with each other through online and through screens more than through personal interactions with each other, like meeting in real life, which also leads to the negative psychological and mental effects, as isolation, pandemic distancing, and technology addiction cause us to close up. The lack of social skills and lack of communication leads us to the future problems of society not developing the leadership and teamwork skills. Now let's dive deep into two main causes of social decay. I want to say that pandemic isolation reduced face-to-face social contact with peers, and it might have a substantial effect on brain and behavioral development during adolescence, especially. General education awareness changed in a terrible way, as people were on distance learning and had not much efficiency to explain the material and students to understand the material. Teenagers became more closed in themselves. They don't want to go out of their comfort zone. They don't want to talk to their peers because they like their little worlds in their home, which also contributes to the development of anxiety, depression, loneliness, and other dangerous mental health conditions. Although many adolescents doesn't consider the mental health conditions as dangerous as they are, and usually romanticizing them. Next, the second cause is social media necessity. As I said, technology, influence, and social media takeover grew up throughout the years, and pandemic contributed to it. Although social media have its economical value because many influencers, many young people influencers growing from the social platforms, they doing their businesses, chasing their goals through the social media, and it's the way to express themselves. Social media is to be able to facilitate human work and provide more benefits to people's social cultural lives. Society is still more dependent on it. Society evolves as a result of information technology development. Cultural ethics and social standards have changed as a result of advent on social media. Now I want to jump on solutions. Here are the solutions that I suggested based on my research and two of the stimulus materials. First is turn to our past, to the good old bright days when the social networks were not emerging, people were not isolated from each other, and the world is a little kinder. This one is based on my stimulus material, false nostalgia, when it talks primarily about nostalgic memories and precedents in the past, which we use to, in the future as a positive aspect. But it's not positive, it's not always positive. In this case, I used it as a positive because people were more socialized, they were not as addicted to technology, and spent more time together than like in their homes and looking through their screens. The second is also comes from another source, bunch of pictures of abandoned houses, abandoned places, but I decided to use it also in a positive light here because we basically abandoning the idea of overusing the social media and technology. Set specific times for network users to increase the demand of peer interactions, and leave texting as a necessarily option to contact people which are far from you. Some of the limitations of these solutions are time consumption. I don't know how long it takes to people develop those habits of get from the social media use or set the meetings together, like personal meetings. It also too much to control. I guess it's people's choices to meet with each other and interact how they want to interact. Also, it leads to the public disobedience because not everyone will to like set the limits on the social media and lose their progress, how many followers they get, like what they build through the technology. My final solution is basically the combination of previous ones, is that the government can set the policies for using social media, set the limits on time in the app, and restrict access, block through the network. I want to remind you the recent example of TikTok ban, which happened last year. It wasn't very efficient, but it had it was set on the different purposes. So I guess for my issue, it is a very efficient way to solve the problem. And the second solution is set the free mandatory clubs or rehabilitation centers to visit by a certain amount of time by antisocial kids or who's struggling with social skills and teamwork. This way we can raise the educational level and social skills. In conclusion, as throughout the presentation we could see that the social decline happened mainly because of two reasons: too much social platform use and technology overtake, and the second is isolation, which also contributed to the technological influence. So in conclusion, I want to say that we can do two main things: is limit the time on technology and control our social awareness. Here is my references. Thank you.
So when you're thinking about the research process that you went through to begin your research, what did you need to have organized and set up before you started your actual research?
You mean the question?
In order to develop your question, when you first began your research, what was your process like? What did you begin with? What did you expand into? Walk us through, once you had your question, how you began your research.
Firstly, I started with what I'm interested in, particularly in what issue of the society I'm interested in. And looking back on my own experiences, I came up with social awareness and technology influence. Yeah.
So if you had a little bit more time, what additional research would you want to conduct related to this issue? Either to dive more deeply into what you have or to expand on it further?
I think I wanted to expand on psychological analysis of people who not very socialized, antisocial, and dive deeply in scientific research of it, more than general.